Season 2 Reloaded patch notes, which comes with the huge Blackout 2 update, as well as a ton of other content for the other modes. But obviously, since this is Warzone, we're going to focus on the Warzone side, which includes a ton of stuff. And one thing that they talked about on the creator call is that they plan to also continue to update Resurgence as well as the standard BR Warzone. Some of you may have saw they did put out a tweet about Plunder, or they mentioned in the COD pod. So we'll kind of see what happens with those things. But we get this little mini event, Counter Skies. It works for all the modes. You just play and you'll organically get some free stuff in there. And if you want to pay for some skins, I think these ones are usually like 1,300 or something like that. There's a ranked series, which sounds a little bit like a weird ladder that you kind of get grouped with your specific people. Then based off of that, I don't know. We'll have to see how that one plays out. That'll also have its own set of rewards. I think the cosmetics on the camo on this one are pretty cool if you're into that. And then we got the Black Ops Royale. Tons of trailer, tons of blogs, tons of info based off of that. It will be Avalon only quads and only 100 players. In the COD pod yesterday, we were able to see a little bit of gameplay. They planned for the matches to be 20-25 minutes. I think overall, it is different enough from the Verdansk Warzone version that we have right now, or Warzone BR, and not Black Ops Royale. I don't know why I want to say, just this should have called it Blackout 2. But either way, we get Avalon. Initially, it's going to be for the Blackout version of the mode. And then they said it is in the works to add it to the base version. And there will be that map rotation, which they've been working on for quite a while. Still no update on when that'll happen, but that is part of the plan. We've already reviewed a little bit of the map to see kind of some of the areas that were added completely different from Endgame. So if you played a ton of Endgame, you do that to level or camo, or you just have fun with it with friends or whatever, it's going to be a slightly different version with new added areas. And then when we get in another month later in Season 3, they'll add additional areas to kind of mix up that part. You get a wingsuit, wall jump, those are part of it. Health and armor, still you're going to have standard re-health like we've had it. So it's consistent across all modes, but you'll still have to apply plates like we've been doing for a while in Warzone and kind of gotten used to. We do have the trauma kit, which makes its return. This is on top of your base health, so you'll go from 150 to 250. And then if you take any kind of base damage beyond your plates, it'll go ahead and tick away at that health, and then you will it won't regenerate back up. The thing that we did not know about before this couple days is the armor mitigation. We saw that it was 35% in the trailer they showed. The base version is 25%, and then the highest is 50%. And this is going to be a significant difference. Like I said already, I'm going to have a spreadsheet kind of breaking down what you kind of want to look for, because the difference in some of the weapons will be like 200 millisecond TTK. You're adding like 5 or 4 shots to kill for some of the higher armor versus no armor. And I know these will be incredibly rare, but it will create some of those scenarios, especially if somebody attacks the trauma kit, which will also be rare with the armor. It will have a little bit of like a, damn, you're kind of screwed if you didn't get those things. But we'll kind of see how it works when it actually plays out. I've seen some clips of it when they showed it. TTKs look a little bit longer, and I couldn't tell. I think it was tier 2 armor, so it could actually be even longer than the clip I saw. We do get redeploy tokens. These are incredibly rare. You start off with one. If you die right off the rip, you get to come back like a typical respawn that we've seen. But then after that, you basically won't see one in another match, and if you do, they're super rare. They said you can get it out of one of the events instead of like the rarity of having the exotic weapon or tier 3 armor. So it's super rare tier. You basically won't see them, and then you'll be able to respawn teammates at a risk of marking here with the redeploy. This is similar to Fortnite with the redeploy van or the reboot vans, and then Apex have their redeploy system where you just take it to the thing. I think this will be a little bit more involved, but a common system of Battle Royale so that friends aren't just spectating their friends for 25 minutes. So that'll be straightforward. Circle pacing, they lay it out. They can continue to adjust these things. The interface, which we've seen. One thing that is unique about the mode as well is you'll be able to have 2 sets of lethals, 2 sets of tacticals, 2 sets of field upgrades, and 2 streaks, I believe. But they have to be different. You can't go, oh, I'm going to get 3 nades and three nades. It's not going to work that way. Or, you know, this item with this other item. You're not going to be able to stack 6 of the grapple hook or whatever the case is. And when you go to your inventory, you'll be able to adjust through them. So You'll still have an inventory management, but it's going to be super minimalistic. So the goal is get the gun you want, loot up, explore, upgrade the weapon as you fight other teams, and make it to the end game. Do some of these events as they pop up. And one thing that'll be pretty interesting is the map will be pretty sparse, which we'll get a little bit into. So you can kind of see how it works there, and you'll be able to swap those specific in the inventory. You'll be like, I want that instead. You could just swap, so you'll be able to rotate that out. See the typical progression, which we've already talked about a couple times already. You get your gun, it's gray, it kind of tells you what it is, and then you plan the upgrade tree and grab these weapon kits. They've laid out the full created class here if you want to go ahead and check those out. For that, the CQB will have the mod, and then these are the same attachments. And they also said these are like meta builds that they were trying to go for. So if you pick up the mod, you upgrade it to legendary, it should feel like a loadout build, and so on for the various archetypes, for the various weapons. These are things you'll just have your favorites. And unfortunately, because some kill faster than others, people will lean towards a ground loot meta instead of a loadout meta. It'll still happen, especially if you like to stay suppressed. You'll want one that keeps you off the minimap. So there's some global benefits as you upgrade, as well as some other things with bullet velocity and stuff like that. Recoil, launchers and specials, they have their own, they're not featured, so you don't have to worry about those. Infill pistol can be upgraded as well. So loot economy, cash is not available, buy stations are removed, no basic legendary or reusable supply boxes. So you don't really have to worry about looting that way. Those are some basic mechanics. And then we get the 2 ways to get supply boxes, the guild supply boxes, and then the Cradle supply boxes, which are the activities across the map. One thing that I found out today is these are not just visible all over the map. What's going to happen is you have the respawn beacons. Those are kind of scattered, so you know where those are, fixed locations. And then you can just happen across some of these and go, oh, do we want to do that event, or just keep moving because it won't be visible. And I think there is one, I can't remember off the top of my head. I know there is one where it'll actually tell you kind of where some others are in the perimeter. So you might go, oh, cool, that's a good one. It'll tell us where that other thing is. So we can go do the scav, we get our satchel, not scav, but we get our satchel, or we get, upgraded kit or whatever the case is. So we get this, yeah, here it is. Destroy this will reveal other activities because, like I said, they're not visible on the map. And you'll kind of go through and do each one. Surprise shipping, this is how you're going to get armor satchel, strong box, you're going to get loot and guaranteed armor vest. That could be tier 1 or tier 2. In the video they showed you, it looked like it popped out a tier 1 and a tier 2. And I guess whoever on your team picks and chooses, but you're going to want at minimum at least a tier 1 armor vest. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you get deleted compared to somebody who has one. Target uplink terminal. This will provide you a short range ping, so it's like a mini UAV. And then when you go over there, you'll be able to kill the target on the bounty. So works there. And then relay antenna. This one will radar scan nearby enemy players and deploy. Okay, so this one is the also a UAV. All right, cool. There it is. And then supply one, this is how you're going to get armor vest and high quality weapon. So there it is. Cradle breaches. We got 2 public events. They did say that the mystery box can only be hit 3 times, and it takes 10 zombie kills inside that breach to be able to get a spin at it. You won't be able to see out of it, and people won't be able to see in. So when you're jumping into it, it might be a little bit of a risk to go in blindly, or you can go ahead and catch people off guard that are doing the event. Consumable perks, if you wanted to pick up 5 perks of 1 and just hold on to them, you can only use 1 at a time, but you will be able to secure that if you just prefer those specific ones. We'll have awareness, brawler, engineer. A lot of these are returning ones or repurposed to better fit the game mode and be able to work in a different way. So pretty straightforward. Those ones you'll pick up, learn, and go through it. Lethal equipment, we do get a monkey bomb. We get cluster grenade, combat axe, instead of a throwing knife, frag grenade, needle drone, sight grenade. Then keep in mind that you're going to be able to interact with a lot of these versus the loadout. A lot of times you would just default to either throwing knives, certain Semtex, type of Molotov, depending on your play style. Now you got to find or adapt to what your play style is, which is more of a traditional battle royale, that the loadouts kind of remove that autonomy in or variety in the gameplay loop. One thing that they did say as well is everything in the trailer is doable. So this little scene right here with the guy grapple hooking onto the helicopter, this is a thing. You'll be able to grapple hook into a helicopter. Looks like he's getting into a friendly helicopter, but I guess potentially he could hijack one. So not exactly sure. Center dart, super powerful. People put those on vehicles back in the day and could be very useful in scouting an area and very useful in game as a zone approaches on a building. You'll have a good idea of where it is. And you can see how much it takes up, just a portion of that mini map. So if you're on one corner, you can kind of throw it, ping where you want to throw it, and then look on the map. Okay, cool. That's kind of where we want it. And you can ping that area knowing how big that radius is. Lasts only 15 seconds, so pretty short. And then you got some other ones there. Field upgrade, you get this bubble dome. This one's a little bit sketch. First introduced in endgame, arrive in Battle Royale. Deployable provides temporary protection from incoming damage, giving squads a chance to hold key positions or recover during engagements. One thing that is different is it blocks the incoming damage, but in endgame, you're able to shoot out. Even in the clip, they show you shooting out, which that seems like overpowered, but I guess we'll have to see how that one works. Then we get some other stuff. Kill streaks, we do get the dog. Death Machine, War Machine, HKDs, Psych Bomb, quite a bit of equipment. Again, you're not going to experience and get all these all the time, and we'll kind of see where that goes. So challenges. This is probably one of the best features that Blackout had in terms of the Battle Royale, in terms of collectibles. You would get a specific operator challenge reward. So in this particular case, you might find one, and it'll say you need to do a specific thing. And this one, they used to do the number skins, and that was part of it. And then they had specific other unlockables to unlock skins. Super creative back in the day for Blackout. They had one where you needed to use like the wood skin, get the bandana, get in a helicopter, snipe someone from 100 meters, and then win the match or something like that. It was crazy for that one. That was like one of the ones I remember. Somebody will know the better details in the bottom, but you kind of get a bunch of different stuff there. And these are all the operator orders. These camos look pretty good. Operators, cool. Completely free content for you to engage in. And I'm sure people will have plenty of guides on how to do that. So closing statement for them says, all of us across Warzone teams are incredibly excited player to drop in and discover Blackout inspired experience. Black Ops Royale has been built to feel fresh, exciting, with completely different focus than our other traditional modes. As always, we'll keep an eye on the community feedback, so keep it coming. Continued. So we're going to get Extreme Resurgence. That'll be for LTM there on Haven's Hollow. That'll be 100 players, which would be absurd. So here's kind of the playlist, which I wish they would have announced this a little bit sooner so people weren't like, ooh, what are we doing? And like I said, Verdansk will not be playable right off the rip for this to be available. And then I think after the next week, then it'll be that. So people at least have a chance to try out Blackout Royale where you don't have to worry about leveling or any of that type of stuff. New perks are being transitioned out and in for their typical loadout Warzone. And they said this is more of like one of their things, and they did it last season as well, as their commitment to continue to update to try and make the game feel fresh. Besides the map, I think they've done a pretty good job on loadouts, weapons, balance, and these perks. They do change up that play style of how you want to play, and maybe one that was a default perk for you, you kind of got to rethink it, which I know some people are opposed to, but it does freshen up that part of it. So you're gonna have momentum as a perk, which has a ton of great benefits. Hip fire spread, weapon reduce fire delay while sliding. So it's like a gung-ho, it looks like. They kind of changed it. Crouch and prone faster. Maybe you're able to snake easier. Berserker replaces Bomb Squad, so that'll be gone. Alertness will be gone. And then it says, after eliminating an enemy player, gain 30% speed to the following. You get a bunch of buffs for 7 seconds. So I guess when you're in multiple engagements, you'll just go crazy. Good name, Berserker. And then replaces Tracker, and this emerging alertness is Hunter. So they reworked alertness, put it in a different slot. This perk is designed for players who hunt, track, and anticipate movements. When shooting an enemy, briefly outline them based on range. Gain the ability to track enemy footprints for 10 seconds. Ooh, if you shoot an enemy other than others can see there. Oh, damn, that's okay. And then sense enemies that are within 30, so they did rework it. So alertness, if you were a fan of that, now it's in the Hunter slot. And you can sense when you're being aimed at, which is before. So Ghost, the grace period before Ghost ends was increased to 5 seconds, up from 1.5. Damn, they made it so Glowstone didn't work. They updated the rank play skin for number 1, which is cool for that person. And then loot and economy buy station events, UAVs purchasable buy streak for 40K. That's just so you don't have to buy 4 of them, and you can hold on to it. I guess you have 3 teammates can hold those. Specialist price has also been increased to 35,000. We get a new weapon, which is an assault rifle. Probably going to be good. Burst could be crazy for the swordfish, especially when you get the pentaburst. We'll see how that works. Maybe not so great in ranged engagements, but it depends on how tight the burst can be. New attachments, we get a backslash for the launcher, and then we get the anvil conversion kit, which makes the hammer. Some other rebalancing stuff. Okay, a little bit of a damage buff. XMR, Peacekeeper gets a little bit of adjustments to attachments. Kogot gets a slight buff to range. More range for the Razor. And then the Rev gets a slight nerf. SG gets an adjustment to increase the pellet spread. And then the MK gets a slight up close benefit. The Titan dual wield, okay, and then the strike conversion recoil increase. So they want to make the recoil of steel too low after they, improved it. Resurgence minimap elimination ping. It was busted at the start of the season. We've made adjustments. The icon appear in minimap after eliminations. I think they're trying to rework it because just some people can't tell the difference. Even though I think that's a minimap skill, but they're just trying to make it easier. Squad hunt. The icon animation had been reduced to enhance visibility, and then a decent amount of bug fixes. So I'm interested in playing this. It comes out Thursday night for me on the West Coast. And then we have the zombies update on Wednesday, as well as multiplayer and endgame. So that could be good for you if you want to jump in on those things. I'm sure you'll be able to upgrade level your weapons if you want to play with those, even though you don't need to for the new mode. They also talked about the camos. They are trying to make that happen, so you'll be able to equip those and set up your blueprints for Blackout, because that was a core feature of the original Blackout, even though that didn't appear at launch of the original Blackout. It's going to be the same thing. It'll probably come out in the next update or 2, and you'll be able to equip all your cosmetics that you like and enjoy on your gun, so that when you pick them up, it'll cosmetically look what you like. So interested, we'll see how it goes. Let me know your thoughts. See you on the next one. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.